it's Nicole. Welcome back to the channel and a happy new year. For today's video, I have the January 2026 collection from Knees Lacquer. This is their In Winter's Embrace collection. There are a total of 12 nail polishes in this collection and they feature a whole variety of finishes. The Winter's Embrace collection launches on January 16th on the Knees Lacquer website. The polishes featured in today's video were sent to me by Knees Lacquer to swatch. Knees Lacquer does pay me for my swatch photos, but they, however, did not pay me to do this video. So this video is not sponsored, but I do have a business relationship with the brand. So as always, in the description box, I will have links where you can pick these polishes up. I'll have links to the Knees Lacquer website as well as their international stockist pages. I'll also have their social media pages, my social media pages, and of course, as always, timestamps are down there as well. And as per usual, I'll save all my final thoughts and feelings and opinions and general nonsense for the end of the video. Let's get right into this one, folks. The first polish up is called Brumation, and Knees Lacquer describes this one as a swampy green base with a chilly aqua to blue shifting shimmer. Brumation had a fantastic but slightly more sheer formula. If you have any kind of imperfections on your nails, you're likely going to be able to see them through this one as it is a more sheer shimmer. While I do agree with the brand that the base on this is definitely like a swampy green kind of color, because the shimmer in here is so very strong, I did find that on the nail, this kind of looks kind of like a blue leaning teal almost. The bluish shimmer paired with the green base, like it looks kind of like tealish on the nail. This is not gonna be one of those kind of sheer shimmer shades where you can't see the base color at all. Like you can very clearly see that the base on this is in fact that kind of greenish color, and you can also see that the shimmer is like a very bright aqua to blue color. Because this is a very sheer polish, you are gonna have very obvious visible nail line with this shade. For my swatches, I swatched this one out in 3 coats, and as always, glossy top coat. I did not find that the shimmer in this polish showed any like brush strokes on the nail. This is a super glowy shimmer. Because it's a shimmer polish, it's gonna be super duper easy to remove. You can scrub this one off if you really want, but it will be a bit messy if you choose to scrub it. Also, the day that I was recording these, we were having a snowstorm here in Connecticut. So unfortunately, I do not have any daylight shots because there was not any daylight to be had. Well, I mean, there was daylight, but it was snowing. And I love y'all, but I am not in fact going outside in a snowstorm to take pictures of my nails. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Oh hell no! And the next polish up is called Chilled to the Bone, and the brand describes this one as a weathered bone colored base with an antique gold magnetic shimmer as well as having green shimmer. I was playing stupid games and I won a very stupid prize when I was swatching this one out. Formula on it is fantastic, however. I say I was playing stupid games because when I did my full hand swatches for this particular polish, I tried to be fancy with my magnetization and it did not really work out very well. So for the magnetization for the live swatch, I believe that I did both the cat eye as well as the velvet states for this one. For my full hand swatches, the magnetization shows my pointer finger without the magnetization. Sorry, I'm looking at my photos over here. My middle nail shows it with the velvet effect, and then my ring finger and pinky show it with the horseshoe style magnet, and I put a bar magnet over the top like this, kind of diagonally. And I don't think it came out well for those particular nails. I definitely think my issues with magnetization was 100% user error. I found the magnetization on this like super nice. It magnetized very easily. I just think I was probably rushing, to be honest, and I didn't hold the magnet on my nail for long enough. And I also don't recall if I did another layer of magnetization after my top coat. I can't remember if I did. I'm betting that I didn't though, because I often don't do that for swatches. Although I would recommend, if you're wearing magnetic nail polish, like, you know, not to just get a photo and be done with it, I would actually recommend re-magnetizing it after your layer of top coat to really seal and lock in the magnetization. I frequently don't do that for swatches because usually these are on and off in like less than 20 minutes. I do agree with the brand's description of this shade. I feel like this is a very kind of antique-y, brownish, taupey kind of color. Like I feel like the magnetic pigment makes it kind of lean towards kind of like an antique-y, brownish shade. But I feel like in combination with the base color, I feel like we're leaning just like a little bit towards taupe. This is gonna be one of those magnetic shades that unmagnetized, you are not going to see any of that green shimmer at all. This kind of looks like a pearlescent taupey color unmagnetized. If you really want to see that green shimmer, I would recommend doing either the cat eye. I did find that for the magnetization, that this one, I was able to see the green shimmer better in magnetizations other than the velvet. I feel like for the velvet, like I was seeing like flashes as I moved my hand around, but just like looking at my hand without moving it, I wasn't seeing the green shimmer as strongly. as I was seeing it on my other nails. I am going to call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on application style and personal preference. I do find that this one shears out a little bit when you magnetize it. I believe for my full hand swatches, the cat eye should be in 2 coats, and then the velvet, I think I added a 3rd coat for the velvet effect. And I did find unmagnetized, because this one kind of looks like a pearlescent, it is a little bit brush strokey unmagnetized, but I did not find that it looked brush strokey once I magnetized this shade. And once again, super duper easy removal. The next polish up is called Crystalline Clarity, and the brand describes this one as a light purple linear holographic with blue micro flakes. Crystalline Clarity also had a fantastic formula, but this one is another one that's a bit on the more sheer side. I found that while coverage is very even in 2 coats, I did need 3 coats to bring this one to full opacity. So I'm going to call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on your nail length and personal preference. If you don't mind seeing visible nail line and you have like longer nails, you can definitely get it with only 2 coats because coverage is super duper even. If you hate visible nail line, I would recommend 3 coats. The linear holographic in this polish is super duper strong. I can very clearly see it, and I did find that the kind of blue microflakes kind of give off these little random flashes of blue in the polish. The microflakes do not dry down overly textured. I found 1 layer of top coat made sure everything was nice and smooth. Removal is going to be super duper easy with this one. You could scrub it off if you really wanted. I am honestly having a hard time deciding on if I think this is a warm or cool tone purple. I feel like it leans like a little bit kind of like a pinky purple almost. So I feel like by saying that, maybe it's leaning a little bit warm, but my gut's telling me to say it's cool. So I'm not good with tones of colors. In general, I am fairly warm toned, especially in my hands, and I feel like for this particular shade, my hands did look very warm reddish. Not lobster hands territory, but I feel like it made my hands look a lot more warmer toned. I'll be curious to see how this one looks on folks who have cooler toned skin tones than I do. My full hand swatches show Crystalline Clarity in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. Very easy removal, just slightly more messy if you're going to scrub this one off. And the next polish up is called Divine Darkness. So the information that I got for this one, that this polish was born from an oops batch of Queen of Rot. Queen of Rot is a very popular Knees Lacquer polish for those of you newer to the brand. I believe I have a swatch photo of it. I'll pop it up here if I can find it. So the brand describes the color of this shade as the darkest red version that they could make. It's such a deep red that it borders on black and has the same glowy green shimmer as all of the Doomacorn siblings. I feel like it's been a minute since we've had a Doomacorn sibling, so yay, they're back. Divine Darkness had a fantastic formula. I feel like the only time you can tell that this is actually like a red base polish is on the first coat. By the time you build this one up, it basically looks black. Like, I'm looking at my swatch photo of it right now, and like, if I didn't know that this was not in fact black, I would have thought it was like a kind of like a very red tone black. I feel like on the, not the meat of my nails, what's that called?
Give your meat a good old rub.
On the part of my nails that has the nail bed, I feel like there it definitely looks black, but towards like the tips of my nails, I feel like that kind of reddish tone is coming in. I do think that for this particular shade in low lighting, this is definitely going to look black. I would hazard to say in most lighting, it is likely going to look black, but look kind of like you'll get flashes of that kind of reddish base. This one does look a little bit patchy and uneven on that first coat. I do think this one's going to be a 2 or 3 coater depending on your application style and thickness of coats. For my full hand swatches, I swatched this one out in 3 coats, and that was just because I had one nail that was like a little bit uneven looking. This has that same super strong green shimmer that we all know and love from Doomacorn and all of its many siblings and cousins and whatever else we had going for Doomacorn. This does have a really great formula, as does all of the Doomacorn siblings. I feel like this is one of the more opaque Doomacorn siblings. Some of the Doomacorn polishes can be very much on the sheer side. This is not one of them, and super easy removal because it's just a shimmer. While I did not personally experience any staining with this shade, I do feel like my natural nails, this kind of red tone is a potential stainer. So as always, double up on base coat if you're concerned about that. And the next polish up is going to be a doozy of a shade. This one is called Frozen Heart. So Knees Lacquer describes this one as a burgundy polish with a blue magnetic shimmer and gold light reflective glitter. They do also warn that this one is going to have a thicker formula due to the pigments in it. And also, customers might notice a very, and I mean very slight color shift in this polish. Originally, when this one was sent out to swatchers, this was supposed to be a thermal nail polish, so technically this does have a thermal pigment in it. However, I believe pretty much everyone on the Swatch team had a really hard time with the thermal pigments in this particular polish. So while it does have thermal pigment in it, don't expect it to change drastically. So for this particular polish, I, for the life of me, could not get this one to change colors. While I did find this polish to have a good formula, it was definitely on the thicker side. It was not the thickest polish in this release, but it definitely was on the thicker side. I did not need to add any nail polish thinner to my bottle, but it was close. Because this one is so much on the thicker side, I did opt to swatch this one out in only 2 coats. I was very concerned about being like just like really thick and chunky on my nails. And while I am willing to make my nails be thick and chunky for like a glitter, I'm not so much willing to do that for this style of polish. Completely ignoring the thermal aspect of this polish, I actually really like this one. I do feel like the burgundy base, this is like a very, very, very dark shade of burgundy. I feel like this basically looks black on the nail. The magnetic pigment in here is a very kind of steely grayish kind of blue color. For my full hand swatches, on my pointer finger that shows the polish unmagnetized, my middle nail shows the polish with the cat eye effect, and then my ring finger and pinky show the polish with the velvet effect. Yes, for this entire video, for all of magnetics, I did different things on different nails, and yes, I hate it. Unmagnetized, I hate the way this looks. I don't know why. I don't like it unmagnetized at all, but magnetized, I think it looks fantastic. This is gonna be one of those magnetic polishes where if you don't magnetize it, you're going to get the texture from the reflective glitter peeking through the kind of metallic-y particles. You're not going to be able to easily see the reflective glitter unless you magnetize this one. Like, you'll get little twinkles of reflective glitter unmagnetized, but it doesn't look great unmagnetized if you want the reflective glitter. And I do agree with the brand's color description. The reflective glitter is a beautiful shade of gold. It actually looks a little bit kind of like a bronzy gold in my personal opinion. Because this has reflective glitter in it, it is going to dry down very textured. I did one thick layer of glossy top coat for my full hand swatches, but this one, it gets a little bit thirsty, so I would actually recommend at least 2 layers of top coat to smooth those glitters out for personal wear. And because this is reflective glitter, do not scrub off this nail polish. If you are unaware, reflective glitter is like extra gritty and sharp as far as, I mean, all glitter is sharp and gritty, but reflective glitter is like a different beast. If you kind of scrub off glitters and polishes like this, you could potentially scratch your nail plate, which you don't want to do because you can't heal that. It has to grow back out again. So I would recommend either the soak off method or a peel off base coat. I did have like a very slight amount of visible nail line with this particular shade once I magnetized it. It was a very slight amount in my opinion. I think for this particular shade, if you add a little bit of thinner to it, I think you might be able to thin this out enough that you can add a 3rd coat to kind of hide your visible nail line because it shears out a little bit magnetized. But for my full hand swatches, I did not do that. The next polish up is called Lovely Dark and Deep, and Bee's Knees describes this one as a charcoal polish frosted with a dusting of silver to green shimmer. Lovely Dark and Deep also had a really fantastic formula. This one is another polish that was a bit on the thicker side. Because it was so thick, I was able to swatch this one out in only 2 coats for my full hand swatches. I did find when I was doing my live swatches, I didn't quite reach 100% opacity in 2 coats. So I will say potentially a 3-coater depending on your application. I always find it so funny that when I'm doing my full hand swatches and like I don't have a camera directly in front of my face, I can get things opaque differently than when I'm doing my live swatches with the camera in the way. I feel like the concept of painting your nails staring at like a screen, it just makes you apply polish differently, I find. So yeah, 2 to 3 coater. I am not super familiar with this brand's frosted polishes, so I'll describe this one. The base on this is black, and then it has these kind of like grayish silvery kind of flakies in it. To my eye at least, this isn't like a shimmer polish like you usually would think of as a shimmer. I feel like the particles that I was seeing in this were definitely like kind of like micro flaky territory. I wasn't seeing like a small particle kind of shimmery kind of thing. The predominant color for the micro flake / shimmer in this polish is going to be that kind of grayish kind of color, but I was able to see those green color shifts coming in as I move my hands around. The next polish up is called Rejoice in the Cold, and Bee's Knees describes this one as a lightly tinted base with blue microflakes, matte black flakes, as well as silver, blue, and purple light reflective glitter. Rejoice in the Cold had a really nice but very much thicker formula. This was one of the polishes in this release. I opted to do my full hand swatches for this particular shade in 2 coats, largely due to the fact that this one was on the thicker side, and I thought my nails were going to look like way too thick if I opted to add a 3rd coat for this particular shade. However, for my live swatch for this particular shade, I did end up adding a little bit of thinner to it. I didn't add thinner when I did my full hand swatches, but I did add thinner for the live swatch. I'm showing it in 2 coats for the live swatch, but I do have a quick shot here of what the polish looked like in 3 coats because right before I took it off, I decided to add a 3rd layer just to see what would happen. For me personally, I love polishes like this in 2 coats. I like it kind of like a slightly sheer look, but if you want more full coverage, you can definitely add a 3rd coat, but you're probably gonna have to add thinner. The blue microflakes in this polish give the overall look of like a blue polish on the nail. I can't tell what color the base color is lightly tinted. I think maybe it's like slightly like gray tone perhaps, but definitely all of the opacity that you get from this particular shade are gonna come from the light reflective glitter as well as, I mean, mostly just the black flakes and the blue flakes. I do find that there are kind of like twinkles of purple glitter within the polish itself, but what my eyes were seeing for the light reflective glitter was largely just silver. I do think that my eyes couldn't pick up the blue like sparks of reflective glitter because of the blue microflakes. I think it was blue on blue and I couldn't tell the color difference, but this is a super duper sparkly polish. I absolutely love reflective glitters paired with flakies. It's one of my favorite nail polish finishes of probably all time at this point. However, the light reflective glitter does make this polish incredibly textured. You're gonna want at least 2 layers of top coat to smooth everything out. You might potentially have to add a 3rd layer of top coat once everything dries down because it might be like a little bit dull. Them reflective glitters are thirsty. They are very thirsty like me currently. They want some nourishment. Because this is a reflective glitter polish, do not scrub this particular polish off. Make sure to use either the soak off method or a peel off base coat. The next polish up is called Resilience, and Bee's Knees describes this one as a plum polish with an indigo magnetic shimmer and ruby red light reflective glitter. This is another one of the polishes in the collection that was previously going to be sold as a thermal nail polish, but Swatches had a hard time getting the thermal aspect of these to change. So while the thermal pigment will still be in this particular polish, their brand isn't selling it as a thermal nail polish anymore. Resilience definitely had a very thick and gloopy formula. This one I had to add thinner to because like it just was borderline unworkable for me. I did really struggle with trying to see the thermal aspect of this particular polish. For this particular polish, I did find that when I ran my hands under cold water, I was able to see a color change. But again, the brand is not selling this one as a thermal, but it does still have the thermal pigment in it. On the nail, I found this to be a very kind of like reddish plummy kind of color. Like I feel like this is one of those colors that I would go back and forth, and if I thought it was like a red that has purple or a purple that has red, just go back and forth on where I'd put it in like the color wheel. This polish does have red light reflective glitter in it, so that red glitter does make this one kind of look a lot more reddy in tone, and I was able to see the red reflex very easily on the nail. For my full hand swatches, my pointer finger is unmagnetized, my middle nail is magnetized with the cat eye effect, and then my ring finger and pinky both show with the velvet effect. Even though this particular polish is not my personal style, I really like how this one looks magnetized in both states. I found unmagnetized, this has this like an odd coloring to it. Like it's very, you get the main color on the nail that you get is in fact that kind of like metallic-y, light lavenderish kind of color from the magnetic pigment, but you can tell there is kind of like a warmish base to it. The reflective glitter is going to make this polish dry down very textured and be very difficult to remove. Once again, do not scrub off light reflective glitter. Use the soak off method or a peel off base coat. The next polish up is called Tend the Flames, and Bee's Knees describes this one as a muted burgundy frosted with a dusting of silver and green shimmer. This is a really interesting color I found. The base on this, I went back and forth on if I thought this was kind of like a reddish brown. On my skin tone at least, I feel like this one leans very much in kind of like a reddish brown kind of color. I see where Bee's Knees is going with calling this one like a muted burgundy. I can see this one being burgundy, but it has like a lot of brown to it. I believe these are the same frosted flake shimmer situation that we saw earlier in this release. I was able to see the green in the color shift a lot easier in this color as opposed to the last one, but similar to the last shade that we saw that had the same kind of pigment on the nail, these kind of look like flakies, like really small flakies that are very kind of like silverish grayish kind of in color, and then there's also a green color shift. My full hand swatches show this one in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. I can see this one being a 2 to 3 coater if you go in for slightly thicker coats. I didn't find the base on this one to be overly thick or thin. This will for sure be very messy to remove if you scrub this one off. I would highly recommend the soak off method or a peel off base coat, however. The next polish up is called Wayward Spirits, and the brand describes this one as a green to black thermal with a gold magnetic shimmer. Wayward Spirits had a really great formula formula. This is probably the one thermal in the collection that I do think that the thermal aspect on it was working perfectly. I was able to very clearly see that there was in fact like a green color shift as well as like a black color shift. I found for the green color shift, it's kind of in like an olivey, almost army green kind of color. And the black color shift, if you look really, really closely, I feel like the black color shift is very much like the darkest shade of green you could possibly get. It's a very green tone black, but it's, again, very clearly it is indeed black. I think because the base on this is so dark, I did find that the gold magnetic pigment has a bit of like a green kind of lean to it. Not a color shift, but like it's a very greeny kind of gold. I did find this one magnetized super duper easily on me. For my full hand swatches, my pointer finger is unmagnetized. My middle nail shows the cat eye effect, and then my ring finger and pinky both show the velvet effect. I think if you want to get the most out of the thermal aspect of this polish, I personally think it looks better in like a magnetic style, kind of like the cat eye effect, where it kind of takes the pigment and moves it all like to like a stripe across the nail. If you don't magnetize this shade, I don't feel like the thermal aspect looks very good at all. I feel like you can see the thermal aspect with the velvet state, but I don't think it looks as good in my personal opinion. Like it kind of looks like your nails going from like this weird green to brown color. Like you're looking, you're just like, wait, is that a shadow or is there a color shift there? It kind of looks like that unmagnetized in my opinion. My full hand swatches show Wayward Spirits in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. This is gonna be a very easy polish to remove. The next polish up is called Wise Witch Winter, and Bees Knees describes this one as a cool blue base with an icy blue magnetic shimmer, as well as holographic flakes and silver and sapphire light reflective glitter. The brand also warns that this is gonna be on the thicker side because of the light reflective glitter, and I agree very much. This was definitely on the thicker side. Wise Witch Winter did have a really fantastic but slightly thicker formula. I opted to swatch this one out in only 2 coats. This is unfortunately one of those polishes where the light reflective glitter paired with like the magnetic shimmer, if you don't magnetize this one, it is bumpy. Yeah. It's the kind of bumpy that like if you're looking at like my full hand swatch, my pointer finger looks like super bumpy and gritty, but like it was perfectly smooth. It was textured from the glitter, sure, but I smoothed it out with 2 layers of top coat. But because of this type of magnetic pigment, it just looks really, really gritty because of the light reflective glitter. And I say this as someone who loves like textured nail polishes. There's something about that particular look that is just, yeah. Don't care for that. However, I absolutely love this one magnetized, but I unfortunately hate my magnetic shots. For my full hand swatches, pointer finger is unmagnetized. My middle nail, I tried to be fancy with my horseshoe style magnet and I put a bar magnet on top of that. It did not come out very good at all. And then my ring finger and pinky both show the velvet effect. This is one of those magnetic polishes where the base on this darkens up quite a bit once you magnetize it. I didn't find that the polish itself sheared out, however. I think because this one was so opaque because of how thick it was, it didn't shear out too bad that I say you definitely need a 3rd coat for it. I will note, however, I had a really hard time seeing the reflex in this polish. I could for sure see a lot of like rainbows and holographic in here, but I wasn't seeing a ton of the reflective glitter, however. This is going to be another polish that dries down incredibly textured. You're going to want at least 2 layers of top coat to smooth everything out. So my full hand swatches show the polish in 2 coats plus 2 layers of top coat. Once again, use the soak off method or a peel off base coat. Do not scrub this polish off. And the final polish in this collection is called Winter Queen. And Bees Knees describes this one as an icy champagne foil with sparks of pink and pale green. Winter Queen had a fantastic formula. This is gonna be one of those polishes I think you're gonna wear this one in 1 coat, 2 coats, or 3 coats. As someone who's not really a fan of like these kind of like pale, delicate, champagne-y kind of polishes, I thought this looked phenomenal in 2 coats. I did still have very obvious visible nailing with it in 2 coats, but I thought it looked phenomenal until when I was recording my live swatches, I discovered I like this one more in 3 coats.
You were this close and you blew it.
Foolishly, I stopped at 2 for my full hand swatches because I thought it looked so good in 2. I didn't want to do a 3rd coat, but when I was doing my live swatches, I decided just, just to look and see what it would look like with the 3rd, and I think it looks better in 3. But like you can for sure wear this in 1, 2, or 3 coats. It applies it really, really evenly. This is very much not my personal style as far as nail polishes go, but I feel like this is definitely like a look I see people really enjoying. While the brand does say that the shimmer in here has a silver to green aspect to it, I think this is the same kind of like, they call it shimmer, but it looks like a really small flaky that we saw earlier in this collection. In this particular polish, I was not seeing the green color shift at all. Once again, I was seeing kind of like a grayish silver kind of flake. I really like foil finish polishes, but this particular one is not it for me personally. Removal is going to be super duper easy. Nothing here is going to dry down textured. Removal is going to be very, very messy, especially if you scrub it off. Soak off method or peel off base coat if you don't want to have like glitter fingers. Alrighty, so final thoughts time. As someone who is not really a huge fan of winter collections as a general rule, I do feel like this one encompasses winter really nicely. I really like the amount of magnetics that we got in this release. I also really like that the brand kind of toned it down as far as like giving a shimmer overload. One thing that I really wanted from Bee's Knees in last year as well as this year was to kind of lessen how many just like plain shimmers that they release and kind of just throw in some things that look more unique to the Bee's Knees lineup. I really like that we have a whole variety of finishes within this release. I also really like the amount of light reflective glitter within this release. I love light reflective glitter. I knew immediately when I saw Rejoice Nicole that that was likely going to be my top pick from this release. As I said earlier, I really love flakies paired with light reflective glitter in like a clear-ish kind of base. I love polishes that look like that. I buy them constantly. I wear them constantly. I feel like for me personally, currently right now, I really dig kind of like a more sheer polish that has a lot of flakies and glitter. And those are the things that you're getting all of your opacity from. I'm really vibing very strong with that particular finish currently. So Rejoice and Nicole is for sure going to be my top pick from this particular release. As far as pricing and sale information goes, the Winter's Embrace collection launches on January 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern time on the Bee's Knees Lacquer website. It should also be popping up at that same time at Bee's Knees Lacquer's various international stockist pages. Bee's Knees Lacquer does offer international shipping directly from their website, but I believe for those of you who are outside of North America that the stockist pages are less expensive to shop from. I'll have the ones that I'm aware of linked in the description box. This release is being done slightly different than Bee's Knees Lacquer's past releases. There is a cap of 750 bottles for each polish in this release. Once that 750 do sell out, there will not be an additional pre-order, so 750 and it's done. The launch ends on January 25th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. There will be a bundle listing available if you want to pick up all 12 polishes in the release. That bundle listing will have a discount of 15%. According to the sale information that I received from the brand, they will have a wish listing feature available, so the website should be live for customers to look at a few days prior to the release goes up, so you can kind of see everything and figure out what you want to get. They also will have some overpours available from the No Mortal Creature collection, and there also will be some mystery prototypes available. All of the polishes in this release are going to be priced between $13 and $14.50 per bottle. The Bee's Knees Lacquer bottle is 15 ml. They have a rounded paddle brush. I would love to know what everyone else thought of this release. Are you planning on picking up? What do you think of these particular polishes? Do they feel wintry to you? Before we end today's video, I do want to give a very big shout out to my channel members. Shenanigans, Story Fans, your names of course all on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, there is a link for that in the description box. You can click join next to the subscribe button. Channel members, I did post on my community tab a list of all of the live streams that we're having for this month. If you like the vibes around here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as like this video. If you really like the vibes over here, don't forget to check out my Discord server. Channel members, there is a special area in my Discord server just for people who are part of the channel membership. But as always, the channel membership is completely optional. Just like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all the things, and we are good. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a lovely week, folks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Big ass when I get high. I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.